Also, but apparently not a serious problem in the Bay Area. But the serious problem is the collapse of those roadways and the number of people. And
Dan, I understand you're also there. Not only are you giving us information, but that you're reporting the situation to the rest of the country. Are you doing reports for other stations?
We did one report for a Houston television station, in fact, the Belo station, KXTV down there. And we're waiting now. Apparently at midnight, we have indication that Dan Rather's going to be doing a live report from New York, and he's expecting us to do something for him out of New York as well. I might add a couple of other things here right now, that we have some updates on the bridge situation. Golden Gate Bridge is open and clear right now, so travel is permitted over the Golden Gate Bridge. BART is still shut down. The Dumbarton Bridge is open right now. The main bridges that are affected by this are the San Mateo Bridge, which is shut down indefinitely, the Bay Bridge, which is shut down not just indefinitely, but for days, it appears likely, as several sections of the elevated part of that freeway collapsed. Also, we have some information right now that San Francisco officials are trying to open some emergency shelters right now. The problems they're facing with that is that electricity is still out in the city, and they're having problems gearing up some of those emergency shelters. Also, the problem is getting people into those shelters because of gridlock right now in San Francisco, and some of the shelters that they had planned on using apparently for an emergency like this have sustained damage, and they're somewhat concerned about bringing people into those tonight. I might reflect just a bit. My grandmother, I remember as I was a kid, lived in San Francisco and was telling me she lived through the 1906 earthquake. Her recollection of that is that they had to pitch tents in their yards. In fact, she was in Oakland at that time, and she remembers sitting in the hills of Oakland, living in their tents for a long time before resources could be restored. And she said they looked out over the bay and saw San Francisco burning. Obviously, it isn't burning as bad tonight as it was back in 1906, but certainly there have been some catastrophic fires there tonight, which have proved fatal.
And there may be people sleeping in tents tonight as well.
Dan, thank you very much. Save some of the gasoline in that generator. We're looking for another report from you tonight at 11 o'clock.
We'll try to...
All right, thanks. Dan Adams reporting to us live. And now we're going to rejoin Dan Rather's CBS summary of this day of earthquake in Northern California.
The fellow that tried to jump it didn't look like he'd ever hit his brakes. He just, you know, was driving Oakland and going 50 or 60 miles an hour, and recognized it too late and jumped across. And when he hit, the car sank into the hole. You could see it tried to run up, and the front axle was bashed up underneath, and the people were in there for quite a long time.
An eyewitness who was riding on a bus was the first to get to the fallen car.
I jumped off the bus, ran over and pulled these people out of their cars. There was no injuries. Pretty scary. I only came out with a cut lip.
A Coast Guard rescue helicopter was summoned to the scene. 4 people were rescued, but 1 passenger in another car on the lower deck was apparently crushed to death. Harold Dow, CBS News, New York.
The Associated Press has rewritten its lead, and it now calls this a catastrophic earthquake, quote, unquote. Earlier it had been called certainly a major earthquake, a severe earthquake, and a violent earthquake. By calling it a catastrophic earthquake, you say, well, isn't that a bit strong? The answer is probably, on the basis of current information, no. 7.0 on the Richter scale at the epicenter, which is about 8 miles north of Santa Cruz. At least 53 people confirmed dead. Our station KPIX in San Francisco says it has confirmed at least 58 dead. A section of the San Francisco Bay Bridge was caved in. There has been widespread damage, and reports from vast areas where we know that damage took place simply are not available. We remind again that there's been a request, if you don't have to use the telephone, if you're in Northern California, then don't. And anybody on the outside, please, emergency officials say, don't try to call in. The phones are needed there. People in the earthquake area are encouraged to stay inside their houses. We have a report from the Castro section of the San Francisco Bay region, and reports there that people were beginning to line up at some food stores because they wanted to get candles and other such things. Residents are advised not to do that by the emergency and disaster control officials. This is San Francisco Bay Bridge, where at least 1 person has been confirmed as killed. An investigation is proceeding about what happened to people who were below this section. Keep in mind that these cars were on this section of the bridge that collapsed. There's a section below that, I believe, and there's an investigation going on as to what happened below there. that Greg Cook, a spokesman for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in Walnut Creek, 25 miles east of Oakland, said, "I will tell you as a native Californian that this was the wildest, longest earthquake I have ever ridden." The California Highway Patrol has again confirmed that at least 6 people were killed in the collapse of part of the Garden City Mall in Santa Cruz. Now, that total is included in our CBS confirmed at least 53 dead. But the Highway Patrol again says that it has confirmed at least 6 people killed in the City Garden Mall in Santa Cruz. This is video.